You take my love for granted. Say a bunch of stuff you never mean, yeah. I think I need a minute to figure out my limits. You cross them more than once, yeah. You take my love for granted. We keep on talking from
Hey everybody, it's Mickey, and in today's video I have some really awesome fall recipes for you. Some are old family favorites and some are new to me that were so good I just had to share. So if you're new here and you like DIY, decor, organizing, cooking, and planning videos, I hope you'll take a minute to subscribe. I put out new videos every week about all things home. So we are getting all of our crock pots fired up today. We're starting with a new to me recipe. This one is for sweet Hawaiian chicken. For this recipe, you're going to need about 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breast, seasoned however you like it. I always like to add salt, pepper, garlic powder, Mrs. Dash, and anytime I make chicken in the crock pot, I like to add a little bit of paprika to give it color. You're also going to need 1/3 cup of soy sauce, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and 1 cup of crushed pineapple undrained. Place your chicken in the bottom of the crock pot, mix together your pineapple, brown sugar, and soy sauce and pour on top. Cover with the lid and cook on low for 6 to 8 hours. I will be putting details and links to all the recipes that I am sharing today in the description box down below. It's about 5.5 hours later and the chicken is all done and smells really great. We're going to be serving the chicken on top of some rice with a good drizzle of the sauce over top and some mixed vegetables. Next, we are going to be making my favorite homemade applesauce using our crock pot. Now for this recipe, you are going to need between 8 and 10 apples. I like to use a combination of mostly apples with a couple of pears thrown in. This is the same combo that I use for my apple pie, so the end product really does taste like apple pie filling. You're also going to need a cup of water, but if you have some apple cider on hand, use that instead because I think it adds way more flavor. Later on in the process, you're going to need some cinnamon and some brown sugar. For peeling the apples, I have always liked to use these really cheap little paring knives that you can probably find at just about any grocery store. They are really sharp and really thin, and they make peeling apples go really quickly. Now that you have everything peeled, go ahead and chop up your apples and pears in really tiny little pieces. The smaller the better, so that they can break down more easily during the cooking process. Add your apples to the crock pot in a really nice even layer. Pour the apple cider over the top. Now at this point I really do like to add a little bit of cinnamon in the beginning of cooking, mostly because this recipe really makes your house smell great and I just love the smell of cinnamon and apples cooking away. You can cook this on high for 3 or 4 hours, but I have always set it on low and cook it somewhere between 6 and 8 hours. When your applesauce is just about done, you can add your sugar and cinnamon. Now you can really control how much sugar that you want to use. I like to use a combo of about 1/4 cup of brown sugar and 1/4 cup of white sugar, and then I add a teaspoon of cinnamon. I let everything cook for about another 30 minutes and then it's done. This will keep in your refrigerator for about a week and it freezes really well. Next up is this crock pot pesto chicken recipe that I've probably shared with you guys before. I've been making it a really long time, and this is from the Picky Palette website. I'm going to leave a link to the recipe in the information section down below for you. For this recipe, you are going to be needing about 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breast. I season it a little bit with some pepper, Mrs. Dash, and some paprika. You will also need some chicken broth, a packet of ranch dressing mix, and about 8 ounces of a jarred pesto sauce. This I get at Costco because I think this Kirkland brand is really good. Go ahead and add your chicken to your crock pot, mix together the pesto, ranch dressing, and chicken broth, pour on top, cover and cook for 6 to 8 hours on low or until the chicken reaches the proper temperature. This is really great served over noodles, mashed potatoes, or rice, and it is even really good shredded up on a bun covered in mozzarella cheese. By far, my most requested recipe on my channel is for my homemade tomato sauce and meatballs. I have shared this before, but I still get requests for it, so I thought I would add it here so everybody would have it before the holidays arrive. This is from a video I did last year on freezer meals that I will put a link to up above. So today we are making a big pot of my veggie tomato sauce with meatballs. This is such a great sauce to split up and freeze because you can use it in so many different recipes. This is also a really healthy sauce because you can put so many different kinds of vegetables in it, whatever your family likes, and it just adds to the great flavor. You know, it's something that I like to have in my freezer all the time for those quick weeknight meals or just to hand off to one of the kids to bring home. So some of the things that you will need for this recipe is a couple packages of ground meat. I really like to use this meatloaf mix because it's a combination of veal, beef, and pork, and it really adds a great flavor to meatballs. You will also need a couple 28-ounce cans of tomatoes. I like to use the regular sauce, crushed and diced tomatoes. Any brand will do. As for the veggies, I will be using some fresh parsley, white mushrooms, zucchini, green peppers, onions, and garlic, but you can use whatever veggie your family likes. So we are going to get started on our meatballs first, and I always like to make my own breadcrumbs for my meatballs, which you can really use any bread that you have around the house. I just put it all through my small food processor. I also add my parsley, garlic, onions, and green peppers, which run through the food processor as well. So I add everything to my small food processor, one ingredient at a time, and then I add it all to the big mixing bowl. You know, I will be sure to put the full recipe in the information section down below, and just like all of my recipes that I share, this one is very forgiving, and you can add to it or leave out whatever suits your family best. So to my meatball mix, I add some Romano cheese, salt and pepper, red pepper flakes, Mrs. Dash, Worcestershire sauce, an egg, and I always make a little extra breadcrumbs in case I need it while I'm mixing. So with clean hands, you're going to mix all of your ingredients together until everything seems to be evenly distributed throughout the meat. And then you're just going to break off a bit of meat and roll between your hands to make your meatballs. Now everyone has their own idea of the perfect meatball shape and size. I had an aunt when I was growing up who thought the perfect meatball was about the size of a softball, so you can pretty much make them any size you want. You would just have to adjust the cooking time. I like to bake my meatballs in the oven for about 35 minutes at 350. So moving on now to our sauce, I am just prepping all of my veggies to go into the food processor. I like to puree these up pretty well so that they melt into the sauce where you get all the flavor but the sauce remains smooth. In a large stock pot, add about a tablespoon of butter and 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then you are going to saute the pureed vegetables for about 3 to 5 minutes. After that, you're going to want to add about a 1/4 cup of white wine. Now this is a step that you can leave out completely without it affecting the flavor of the sauce. Next, you're going to add all of your canned tomatoes. That's the sauce, crushed tomatoes, and the chopped tomatoes. And then you're going to want to add all of your seasonings, which will be listed in the information bar down below. After those are all stirred in, you're going to be adding your baked meatballs. Bring everything to a low boil and then simmer for about a half hour to 40 minutes, and then your sauce is done. Like I said earlier, this sauce can be used in so many different ways and for so many different recipes. My favorite is always just spaghetti and meatballs, which we had for dinner tonight. So thank you all so much for watching this fall crock pot recipe video today. I hope it gave you some good ideas for upcoming dinners at your home. Let me know down below which recipes are your favorite, and if you tried any of these, how your family liked them. Please don't forget to subscribe and join our community over on Facebook and Instagram at My Bashful Life. So until I see you in that next video, I hope that you love the life that you have, be kind to each other, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!